Wanted to ask
No, it's starting to get going. We got to get her going.
Might as well, right?
It seems like it's been 2 weeks since we played, so time to play.
Wanted to ask you about expectations or pressure when you consider the success you guys had last year. You know, if you think that raises the bar, and then you think about the trade deadline additions you made, bringing in some pretty big
I don't
guys.
worry about any of that. I
Does-
worry
so
about getting ready for game one tomorrow night and playing. I mean, no, I don't worry about that. I know we're playing a team that I see is pretty competitive, and the series can go either way. They're a real good hockey team. I think we're a real good hockey team. We match up real well from what I see, so I don't worry about all the experience and expectations and that. My job's to get our team to play the best we can, and hopefully we'll win.
Do you think that your team proved something to themselves with the success that they were able to have last year, and that kind of raised the bar?
I don't think so, no. We expect to go and win the Stanley Cup. That's what we expect to do when day one starts of the playoffs. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think everybody in that room believes we can win the Stanley Cup. I think everybody in that room knows we could lose in the first round if we don't play our best hockey, so it's a battle. There's no bad teams out there.
What do you see as the challenge of facing the Devils, and maybe some of what you guys need to do and maybe some of what you can't do?
We gotta play our best hockey. We gotta manage the puck well. That, to me, that's the biggest thing. We manage the puck well. We do the good things that, you know, I think over the 2 years, you look at our team and you say it's not a real good defensive team. It's a talented team, it's a skilled team, but then you look at the numbers and you say, well, we're third best in the NHL in goals against, you know, stuff like that. So, as coaches, again, I looked at it last week and I said, you know, I look at some of the problems that you look at after games as coaches, and you're always on the defensive side saying, what are we doing wrong, what are we doing wrong? And then sometimes you say, well, what are we doing good? And then you look at that stuff and you say, well, it's pretty good. We're a pretty good team when we're playing well. So I like our chances, I like our group, and we'll see what happens.
Does the Devils' speed, is that something that you're trying to take away in some way in this series?
Well, that's a big part of it. They play real well with their speed. We know what they do. I mean, our coaches had too much time the last 4 days to dissect everything and to look at different stuff, and they're a talented team, they're a speedy team. But again, when you're playing in their zone, they'll make some mistakes. They're a younger team. They got some good young talent. So, but we got to worry about playing our game. And like I said, managing the puck is going to be important for us. Doing the right things, playing our game. We got a lot of veterans on our team. We got a lot of talent. We had a good run last year, which means nothing.
You guys have more playoff experience in your room than they do. And with the run this group made last year, can that be any edge to you in your eyes?
What did I say last year? Do you remember?
You had no experience.
When Pittsburgh had more experience, and it means nothing. And I truly believe that. Who's ready to play it for the next 2 weeks? I really believe that.
Philadelphia had a playoffs last year that would be considered a breakout for him, and he followed it up with a really strong season. Wondering what you saw from Phil this season that, you know, was a carryover maybe from what he did in the playoffs.
I just think he got bigger and stronger and more NHL games. That's the biggest thing for me. They're young kids. You can say the same thing about his two line mates. They're getting more experience. They're playing more. You know, they're growing up. They're not kids anymore. I think 23, 22, and 21. But they got more games under their belt. They're playing games, meaningful games, and I think it goes a long way. Phil got bigger and stronger and played a heavier game, and everything else followed him.
What does he do as a center to help drive that line?
I think his speed, his talent, he manages the puck real well. But I just think when Phil's going his best, he's driving that middle ice with the puck, and he's making things happen. He's pushing back defensemen, and they do a real good job down low. They manage the puck as good as anybody in the NHL, in my opinion, down low. They reset pucks a lot. Capo moves his feet a lot out of the corners. Laffy's the same way. So I think they do a real good job down low.
It sounds like experience matters on the individual level, but maybe not so much when you get to the team level here about being in these big games that, you know.
I didn't catch the first part.
On an individual level, it sounds like you're saying that the experience of the big game matters. Why is it different?
I didn't say that.
You just said that playing in big games has helped them grow.
Playing NHL games help them grow. I believe when players play 100 to 200 games, they become NHL players. The first year and a half doesn't mean a lot, and so I think the more games they played, it's not about big games. We played a lot of big games over the last year, but I'm not saying it was big games, it's playing NHL games and playing with the Rangers, so.
What makes Jack Hughes so special, and is it too simplistic to say using physicality on is a way to combat?
Well, again, I look at both teams and I don't see a physical banging series. I see fourth lines that are gonna bump and grind. I see our players gonna finish checks, but they're not gonna, look at our lineup, look at their lineup. There's not gonna be a whole lot of guys running people over. I don't see that. I see some defensemen that can hit. I see fourth lines that are gonna play their roles, but I don't see Jack Hughes gonna finish our guys or us gonna run over Jack Hughes. He's a talented guy. He's got a great hockey IQ. He's a great young player, and he jumped in another level this year.
What's the value to treating this series, games 1 and 2, as traditional road games? I mean, it's right down the, it's not far, but you guys
Yeah.
treat it like a traditional.
Yeah, no, and that's what we did in part of the season. One time we didn't, the other time we did. So I think it's good. With playoff time, you want the guys together. You want them to be around, and we playing this the same way as we were playing in Carolina. No different.
Is it valuable at all, some of the adversity that you went through last year in the playoffs, that you guys learned a lesson?
We'll find out. We'll find out. I mean, like I said, I think all those guys grew. They had great seasons. Keandre Miller included, Snyder included. So we're more of a veteran team now, but they're still young players, and we'll see where it goes. Again, I think there's two teams that are evenly matched. It's going to be a great series.
What have you seen from Igor this year? I mean, last year he had a magical season. What was this season like in terms of comparing it to that? And also,
Well, what was the difference? 110 points last. I'm not sure of the numbers. Did we get 110 and 107? He was strong. He was good. I think our team got a little better overall, but he's a great goaltender. When you talk about the best goalies in the playoffs, he's got to be one of them.
I mean, and he obviously would have learned as well from last playoffs as well. He has some.
Yeah, no, the last playoff wasn't easy. I mean, we were down first series 3-1, we come back. We were down 2-0, we come back. We were up 2-0 against the defending champs, and we lost. So there was lots of ups and downs in those series, and sure, you learn a lot from it, but this is a new year. You turn the page and you get ready for this year.
All right, what's your appreciation
Last one.
for this rivalry and for the local hockey fans?
I think it's going to be great. I think, you play a team right across the river there, and it's going to be awesome. I mean, I haven't been a part of this rivalry, obviously, but I think it's going to be fun, and I think it's going to be real good hockey. I think it's two teams that are going to bring it to each other, and it should be great hockey.